All right, let's talk about something that makes a lot of people sweat a little. Fractions and algebra. But what if I told you there's a secret weapon? A tool that turns these intimidating problems into something you can solve in one single clean step. Well, today, we're going to unlock it. So take a look at this equation right here. 2/3 x equals 8. I mean, for a lot of us, the second you see that fraction, your brain just kind of hits the brakes, right? But why? What is it about that little 2/3 that makes this whole thing feel so much harder than if it just said 2x equals 8?
Well, I'm willing to bet it's because you haven't been properly introduced to its secret weapon. There's a tool designed specifically for this exact situation, and trust me, it's a total game changer.
Now, you might be thinking, well, don't I just divide both sides by 2/3? And hey, you could do that. But here's the thing. Dividing by a fraction is messy. It means you have to flip and multiply. There are extra steps, and it's just asking for a simple mistake to happen. There has to be a cleaner, faster way, and there is.
And that brings us to the hero of our story today. So let's meet our secret weapon, the reciprocal. This one simple idea is going to make these equations, well, kind of fun, actually.
So what exactly is a reciprocal? It's super simple. It's just the flipped version of a fraction. So the reciprocal of 2/3 is 3/2. And here's the magic trick. When you multiply any fraction by its reciprocal, the answer is always 1. And that little piece of magic, it's the key to this whole thing. Okay, so this is the why. You know how in algebra the whole game is to get the variable, the x, all by itself, right? Well, x all by itself is really just 1x. The reciprocal is the perfect tool to turn that messy fraction, like 2/3, into a clean, simple 1 in one single move. Okay, before we jump in, there are 2 golden rules. You absolutely have to remember these. First, the #1 rule of all of algebra. Whatever you do to one side of that equal sign, you must do to the other to keep things balanced. And #2, and this is a big one, the reciprocal always keeps the same sign. So if the fraction is negative, its reciprocal is -2. Don't let that trip you up.
All right, enough talk. Let's see this secret weapon in action. Think of this as our training montage, where we put this new move to the test against a few different problems, from easy to, well, less easy.
Okay, example 1, the basic warm-up. 3/4 x equals 9. First step, what's the reciprocal of 3/4? Easy, flip it. It's 4/3. Step 2, we multiply both sides of the equation by that 4/3. On the left, the fractions just cancel out into 1, leaving x all by itself. Perfect. On the right, we have 4/3 times 9, which simplifies to 12. And we're done. X equals 12. See? Clean and simple. Let's level up. What if we throw in a negative sign? -2/5 y equals 10. No big deal, we just stick to the rules. So, the reciprocal of times -2/5 is -5/2. Remember, the sign stays the same. We multiply both sides by that. The left side becomes just y, and the right side becomes 10 times -5/2, which simplifies to -25. The process works exactly the same. Okay, final boss for our training montage, a fraction on both sides. 4/7 k equals 2/3. Don't panic, the weapon still works. Find the reciprocal of 4/7, that's 7/4. Now multiply both sides by it. On the right, we've got a little fraction multiplication. 7/4 times 2/3. Just multiply the tops, that's 14, and the bottoms, that's 12. So we get 14/12, which we can simplify to 7/6. See? Even with fractions everywhere, the method is solid. Now that you know the move, let's talk about mastering it. Because just like with any cool new technique, there are a couple of common traps you gotta learn to avoid so you can use it perfectly every single time.
Okay, pitfall #1. This is by far the most common mistake people make. When you see a negative fraction like -2/3, it's so tempting to flip everything, the numbers and the sign. But nope, that's wrong. Remember golden rule #2? The reciprocal keeps the original sign. The reciprocal of -2/3 is -3/2. The sign does not change. And the second pitfall, trying to be a hero and do it all in your head. Look, when you get to a step where you have to multiply 2 fractions, don't just guess. Seriously, just write it down. It takes maybe 2 extra seconds, and it will save you from so many simple calculation errors. Always, always write out that multiplication step. So is this just some abstract math trick? I mean, why does this even matter? Well, it's because this idea of a reciprocal, of an inverse, it's not just for algebra class. It shows up everywhere in the real world.
Think about engineering for a second. The gears in your car or on your bike, that's all about fractions and ratios. If you have a gear that changes the speed by a factor of 3/4, how would you design a gear to change it back? You'd use its reciprocal, a gear with a ratio of 4/3. This idea of inverting something to get back to where you started, it's literally fundamental to how we design machines.
So what did we really learn today? That multiplying by the reciprocal isn't just some random rule you have to memorize. It's actually a super clever shortcut, a life hack really, to avoid the headache of dividing by fractions. And that leaves me with one final thought for you to chew on. What other so-called rules in math have you learned that might just be clever shortcuts designed to make a complicated idea much, much simpler?